guys, it's Lala and welcome to part 2 of fixing these customs. So last video I cleaned off all of the old paint and I did the clay work. So today I'm going to be doing the paint. But before I can do that, I need to work on sanding down the clay. The horns are pretty rough and I need to round out each layer to give it a nicer look. It didn't take me too long on this one, but I just had to go through on every layer and drag the lines through all the way to the back so it doesn't look awkward on the back side. And the one with the 2 horns took me about the longest because I had to do it 2 times instead of 1, but I got through it. And this one was really hard because I don't know why, but these specific horns were so uneven, and I really had to go through and take the time to round out each little layer and make sure that they looked even all the way up and on both sides. Then I just went in and rounded out these ear fluffies because they were a little rough too from where I had pressed them down. Then I just got a large paintbrush and dusted them both off and got my work surface clean for the next part, which would be the painting. So the vision for these two, they're going to be twins but opposite. So this custom with the 1 horn will be a pastel theme. So I went with a light pink, almost like bubblegum pink, and then I just started to put the layers on, and this custom specifically took maybe 10 or 12 layers of paint. It took a lot. I should have done a white base coat first, which would have made this a lot easier, and I did do that on the body because it had darker paint, but I should have done it all the way through. I don't know why I did, but I was just ready to get into it. Then the other one, I did a darker color palette, which was a black base, and the black went on really easy. It always does, and I only had to do a couple coats, about 4 or 5, so this one was really easy and quick. And I love me a custom with a black base coat, so this one was my favorite one to paint. After that, I was ready to start working on the design. So I wanted the ears to be pink, so before I could do that, I had to do a white base coat on both of the ears, and I forgot to film the one ear, so that's why it's already on there. But I just did, I think, 1 or 2 layers of white paint to make it a little bit easier, and it would just make the pink a lot more vibrant. And then I just went in with this hot pink. I really like this hot pink with this black. It looks really good with the dark color palette, and it really pops, and I really liked painting it because it was so satisfying to paint. I don't know why. It just went on so smooth, and I just made sure that I tried to keep it on the ears as much as possible. I did get it on the head a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It's also really satisfying to watch me paint on there. I did about 3 layers of this pink on the ears, and then it was time to do the touch-up for the ears. I didn't do too much of a mess, but there still was kind of a mess, and I wanted these to look as nice as possible, so I did have to go in and fix it, and I did just kind of paint a little bit everywhere where it was thin in some spots, and I just cleaned up any areas that were messy. It was a bit tedious to do this touch-ups because I didn't want to get any of the black paint onto the ears, because if I would have done that, I would have had to repaint the ears again, and then I would have had to do the touch-ups with the black again. So it was kind of hard, but I got through it. I had a hard time deciding what color I wanted for the horns because I wanted something that stood out against both of them, and I wanted them to be both the same color on both customs, but I eventually decided on silver. I was going to go with gold, but gold just seemed a little bit too much like brown to me, and again, I wanted it to stand out well against these customs but also go with the color palette. So silver was the ended choice. And I did really like the decision. It looks really nice with both of them. And it was pretty easy to put on. I only had to do a couple coats each. And I just really like the silver. It looks really nice on the horns. Then I went in with the design. I wanted them to kind of have a similar design on their heads. And I wanted it to be something like a big line with diamonds. And then the other one would have a rounded design. So this one had something that was narrow into the nose, and I really do like this design. It kind of changed from my original plan later on, but for right now it looks really, really nice, and the black just stands out really well against the light color palette of the base. Painting this was very tedious. I did not want to get any of the black paint out of the line because, again, same with the other ears and the other one, I would have had to go over it a million times. So I made sure to take my time and go slow and just try my best to keep this black in the lines, and I messed up a little bit, but I just went over it and fixed the lines by adding more black, so it ended up looking fine and I did not get it out too bad. Then it was time to draw the design for this one. So it's going to be similar like the other one, but instead of narrowing down into the nose, it's going to narrow down into like a heart shape kind of thing. I drew a rounded back, but then I decided I'm just going to do the same pointed diamond shape that I did the other one because I really liked how that looked, and I did not like how the rounded part looked. It just kind of looked weird to me, and it did not match the design of the rest of the custom, so I went in with the pointed end, and the front like comes out into like a heart almost, so instead of narrowing down into the nose, it curves almost completely around the face. And this white is just a base coat because I was going to be doing another hot pink for this design, and I just needed something that would make the pink vibrant, so the white is not here to stay, it is just for the base coat of the pink. Painting around these horns was so annoying, especially in the ears, and I did get some paint on the ears and the horns, and I kind of couldn't avoid it, so I just tried my best to go as slow as possible and keep it off the horns as best as possible, but I ended up not doing that, so I guess if I had a smaller brush, I could have gotten this a little bit better and make it a little bit neater, but I didn't have that, so I just worked with what I had. Then off camera, I did the pink over the base coat. Then I decided that I wanted to have a white belly for her to draw away from the hot pink. And then I just gave her a white muzzle as well. And it curves up into the little heart shape. And it matches down with her chest. And I really like how I did that. I love that in designs when the chest and the mouth match. It just always looks so neat and it just looks so cohesive. And I just love it. Then I went on with his thighs and I painted them white. I don't know why I decided to paint them white, but I just really like the idea of having his entire body being black and then just having white details, so I did that on both sides. Then I did a little diamond on his back, and I really like that because it draws the white together, and I just like diamond design. Then I did little white cheeks to kind of look like a little doll or something, and I'm obsessed with that. It looks so cute. I forgot to record it, but I did paint this one's tail pink. Then I started to paint her legs pink. It is also the same hot pink that is on the other one's ears because they're supposed to be cohesive. And I do like how I have the hot pink on this one because the hot pink just stands out on both of them. And I was just going to have it on the legs, but then I decided that I wanted to bring it up to the chin as well. It probably would have been easier if I had sketched this out first, but this was kind of just decided on a whim, so it kind of looked a little bit messy, so I tried my best to straighten it out and make it look a little bit nicer and more cohesive. Then I just put it on her chin, and I really like the pink on her chin where it matches, and I made sure that I dragged it all the way down and that it matched with her chest. So originally I was only going to have her cheeks be this hot pink, and then it was going to come down to her neck, and it was just going to be like a cute little design with a gap in between her black markings and then her pink markings. But I didn't really like how it looked. It kind of just looked bare in between, So I decided that I'm just going to do her whole face pink. So I just rounded it out around her eyes and did her whole face pink. And it was a lot of pink. This is a lot of pink on this custom. I've said pink a lot in this video. And I just made sure that I didn't go over the black. But even if I did, it's a lot easier to cover black than it is pink. So I was not as worried about it as the other time. Then I feel like I needed a little bit of black to balance out her black markings, so I painted her little feet black in the front, and I did the back ones as well. I feel like her black feet really balance out the black on her because the one black marking just was lonely, so I feel like she needed a little bit more black on her to tie it together. And then back to the other one. So I just went in and did all the touch-ups for this one because I made a mess of this one because I wasn't as slow because I wasn't as worried about it. So I just made sure that all the lines were crisp and that no white was where it wasn't supposed to be and that any paint that had gotten chipped while I was working on it was all back to normal and not chipped. And I made sure to clean up her bottom because I normally neglect the bottom, but I'm trying to get out of that habit, so I made sure that I touched up the bottom. Then it was time for the eyes. I had a hard time deciding what color I wanted the eyes to be. These are supposed to be demons, so I went with red eyes, and it took a lot of coats to cover this red. I don't know why. I thought I'd only have to do like a couple, but it took at least like 7 coats each custom to make these eyes red. Obviously a lot less on the pink one than the black one, but it still took a lot on both of them. And while that is drying, I'm going to do their noses. So I wanted the black noses to be brought down, and I messed up and made this nose a little bit too big, but it's alright. She just has a really, really big nose now. But luckily, this one doesn't have that big of a nose because I took my time on this one instead of rushing like the other one. And I just did some more final touch-ups because for some reason they were still kind of messy, and I just fixed any mistakes that I didn't catch while I was fixing them earlier. Then I went in with a pencil and started to mark out what I wanted the eyes to look like. I kind of changed the design once I actually drew it, but I wanted something like cool looking, and I was originally going to do these like cool diamond pupils. I did not end up doing that, but I just am marking out where I want the eyelids to sit on both of them and kind of what I want these shapes to look like on both of them. Then I started on this one, so I wanted something darker for this one, so I went in with a black and did where I did the lines, and I painted the whole top of the eye black on both sides. But I ended up wasting my time doing the drawing part because I kind of just went a little bit crazy with these eyes. I just let my creativity go wild, and they just kind of got a little bit crazy, but it matches their whole vibe because they're supposed to be crazy twins anyways. Then I went in with a more narrow pencil and started to draw her eyelashes. So I wanted something spiky, and I wanted something bold, and I wanted something that was long and just stood out. So I did really long lashes, and I tried my best to make them as similar as possible, but it didn't really work out. But luckily I could erase it, so I just did it over and over again till I was happy with it. I did a lot of this part off camera because it was really hard for me to keep it in the frame and draw at the same time. So this is how they looked, and then I just went in with the black paint and I tried my best to keep them in the lines, but it ended up getting a little bit crazy because this paintbrush is not very narrow. I'm going to try a different technique at drawing eyelashes next time, but I did not do that for these ones, so I did really good on the first one. It was really more the second one that kind of got a little bit chaotic, but they ended up looking alright in the end. Then I went back to this one, and I kind of wanted to do something similar to that one, but I originally went with the bubble eyelashes, but I ended up changing that because it did not look well in the end. But for right now, I just drew on the bubble eyelashes, and I like them in the sketch. So for right now, that's what I'm doing. And I went in with white because I thought it would look good on the black, and I couldn't really do black eyelashes because it's a black custom. So I went in with white, and I really like the white eyelashes. I'm gonna do that more on darker customs because I did that for another one and I used pink and I really liked it. So, and I did the top of these eyes white to match the white eyelashes. So I really like this white. I really like this idea that I had. Then it was time for the pupils. So I drew a line where I wanted the pupils to sit, and I decided that I wanted to do a color that I've never done before for a pupil, and that was silver. So I've never done a large pupil like this with silver before, and the reason I did this was because I wanted the horns to match something. And I really liked the idea of the pupils standing out and being almost like creepy like, because they are supposed to be uncanny a little bit. And I forgot to film a lot of this, but I basically did black outlines on both of their ears, and then I did the eyebrows, and then I did the eyes. And now I'm just doing the glaze over their eyes, and I just do a thick coat of that over both of their eyes. And I always do this with my customs because it makes their eyes look more glossy and it just makes them look better. And I really like doing this. I started doing this a while ago, and then I just put Mod Podge over their horns. Again, a really thick coat of this to make it look really shiny, even more than it already was. And I liked that I did this as well. Then while that was drying, I just did a thin, very, very thin layer of Mod Podge over the entire base. I always do this when I know that I'm going to be using the customs a lot, because with a lot of usage, acrylic paint will eventually chip off. So to prevent that from happening, I just make sure that I put a small layer of Mod Podge over the entire custom, so that way it seals in the paint and I can do whatever I want to it pretty much, and it will not chip. And I make sure to put a lot on the bottom so that way it doesn't chip on the bottom as well. Then I just did the same thing on this one, where I did a small layer of Mod Podge, and I made sure that it was covering the entire custom and no spots were missing. I also forgot to film a lot of this one's design, so I did a black line around all of the pink, and I also added black lines to her ears, and I like that they both match on the ears. I just like that cohesive part of it. So here are both of the customs. I'm really happy with them, especially since where they came from. They used to be destroyed, covered in sand, nail polished, paint. They were dirty, broken. I'm so happy with how they turned out. They're chaotic, but in the best way possible. And I love how their designs, like, they're opposite, but they're so similar. And their color palettes are pretty identical. I just love them so much, and they will probably be in a custom Friday. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you at the next one. Bye!